We will continue on with Arkansas head coach Chad Morris. Coach will ask you to make a brief opening statement, and then we'll open it to Q&A. As a reminder, if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you and call on you.
Well, I just want to, first of all, thank you all for being here and, to be on this platform today and representing high school coaches all across the country and being in the best conference in college football is very exciting. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for the University of Arkansas. It's an honor to be their head football coach, and it's a job that I do not take for granted, and I thank God each and every day for this opportunity that we have to impact lives. The reception across our great state has been incredible, and the passion level for the Hogs has been something that I could not even imagine. But it's been 223 days since we've gotten to Fayetteville, and excited about the opportunity that lies ahead. And with that, I'll open up.
If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Go right back here on the left in the back.
Coach, how do you think the move to a 4-3 has affected guys like Dijon Harris and Dre Greenlaw?
Well, they had played in a 4-3 prior to, last year. And, being able to hire John Chavis as our defensive coordinator and transition back into the 4-3 and to watch these guys adjust and adapt to the style that Coach Chavis is bringing in. The aggressive style has been really exciting to see. I feel like that we're built for the 4-3. But when I say 4-3, I mean, let's say this. Let's back up for just a few minutes because, if you know anything about Coach Chavis, he's very much so of transitioning. We'll go to some 3 down at time, but we'll base out of a 4-3, but very multiple. So I'm excited, and it really, I know our players are as well.
We'll go standing over here on the right.
Coach, with this being your first SEC Media Days and being your first year as a head coach of Arkansas, what are your initial thoughts of today, and how are you taking it in?
Well, they told me there would be a few cameras here today, so I think a few would probably be a little bit of an understatement, but I've been really excited. Growing up and being a fan of college football, and when I was coaching high school ball, even at some of my prior stops, you knew that when you turned on the television and you saw the SEC Media Days being televised, you knew that football season was starting. And to know that I'm on the platform and part of the kickoff of college football, I'm extremely excited about this opportunity that we have.
Go right here on the left side on the back row.
Do you remember the first time you said left lane or hammer down or full tilt boogie? Where does these all come from?
Yeah, I would give it in a pregame speech, back when I was in high school. I mean, it would just, we'd be playing a big opponent, and I'd be like, okay, I got to pull my left lane hammer down speech out, and I'd pull it out, and I said, well, all right, guys, we got to rev the engine and pop the clutch and put it in the left lane and put the hammer down, and I lost them at pop the clutch because these guys are like, I don't know what a clutch is. I just put it in drive. And so that's where it really started. And then when my introductory press conference, that was just who we are. I mean, that's how we were going to go. That's our lifestyle. And it just took off. I mean, it truly is, it wasn't scripted. It was that's just who we are. And it is taken off, to say the least.
We'll go over here standing on the right side.
Coach, with the new freshman redshirt rule, or maybe just the redshirt rule, how will you use that to your advantage with Connor Nolan and John Stephen Jones? Will you be able to play them maybe now in the first 3 non-conference games?
Well, you can play them in any 4, and so obviously talking about Connor and John Stevens, as opposed to all of our players. Let me say this first about the redshirt rule. We would never, as a head coach, put a player on the field to play in this league in particular, in any league, if he wasn't mentally or physically ready to play. And through practice, through the preparation. So what's happened in the past with the prior redshirt rules is you may lose the focus of a young man. And you, even though you may tell him that, look, you've got to be ready just in case of an injury. We may need you late in the year. And, a lot of those young guys they're not mature enough to be able to flip that switch What this does, which I love the rule, it allows us that maybe we do have a guy or two that's ready early on. And if he is, we're going to play him. If he's not, then we're going to continue to develop that young man, and he's going to know that he has an opportunity to play as that season unfolds, that he's got to be engaged and in tune in meetings. And so when you're dealing with Connor and you're dealing with John Stevens and the opportunity for these young men to have an opportunity to play this year, absolutely, they sure do.
We'll go to the camera platform on the left side.
Hey, Coach. Anything that might surprise us heading into preseason camps, a position move, or maybe players that have stepped up their level of leadership? We always see something like that when there's coaching changes. Players seem to take opportunities like that. Anything that we could expect?
You know, just talking with Coach Carroll, Trumaine Carroll, our head strength and conditioning coach, and just the process that these young men have been going through, the transformation during the summer months, and seeing the leadership step forward. You know, I'm excited. I don't know that there's exactly just one guy or two guys that we're expecting a lot out of. I know this, when you look at our football team, they're in shape. They look apart as they're getting ready to go into camp, and so they know that the amount of running and that they've been doing through the course since January. They feel better than they've ever felt. And we've got some guys that have trimmed up, which needed to happen. And so I think that with that, you're going to see several guys step up. I know there's some in my mind that I need them to step up, but we'll wait and see how that goes. That'd be a great follow-up question maybe after a couple of days of fall camp practice. But I'm excited about the team meeting we had yesterday and listening to the input from our players step up and talk. And we've had several true freshmen step up and talk in a team meeting, which was very impressive.
We'll go to the back row over here on the right side.
Over here, Coach.
I'm sorry.
You kind of talked about him a little bit earlier, but obviously your defensive coordinator, John Chavis, is no stranger to the SEC, specifically the SEC West. What did you like about him? What made you want to bring him to Arkansas? And just his experience with the SEC defense.
Yeah, you know, I've been asked that, and that's a great question. And Chief is when I got the job, there was one phone call I was going to make first, and it was to John Chavis. And having experience of preparing for Coach Chavis's defenses, we actually played them here in Atlanta in a bowl game, and know the difficulty, and watching watching him develop teams and be a part of top defenses across the country and play at on the grand stage in college football and this conference and this division. I needed someone with that experience. I needed someone that I knew I could provide some advice or some help in how to defend and defending the spread offenses. And so we've done a great job offensively of working together and defensively of watching film together and cross-checking each other and listening to Coach Chavis as he's helped us give advice how to help grow our offense to different things defensively. So, man, this is a guy that's he's rejuvenated, he's excited, he's bouncing around, and man, our players have just have really taken a hold to him and his knowledge. And why wouldn't you when you're a guy that's been in the league as long as he has?
We'll go to the camera platform in the back on the left side.
Coach, here in the back. One of the guys that's here today, Santos Ramirez, what was your first impression of him when you first met him, and what are you expecting from him this season? You know,
Santos, along with a lot of our players, the majority of our players, they did not want to go back down the road that they'd been on. And when I first met him, December the 7th, I believe, it was very evident that, look, Coach, we know change is coming, and we're excited about the change. We're trusting you. You're giving us hope. We don't want to travel down the road. We want to know what it was like, and we've got a bad taste in our mouth about it. But Coach, in his exact words, Coach, I'm here to tell you that I'm going to do everything in my part to help get this football team together and to where we don't travel down that road again. And so that immediately just caught on. And his leadership throughout the course of spring and his ability to understand that when he does make a mistake, he knew what happened and to be able to correct it. A very coachable young man, and he's a graduate, and I'm really excited about that for him as well.
Go to the back row over here. On
Hey,
the
Coach.
ma'am.
right side.
With you being the new head coach of Arkansas, what is the type of chemistry that has been founded or like has laid down on the foundation between you and the players?
I think of trust. You know, if you ask me, say, Coach, what's the one word that has to happen? Trust. And I've worked extremely hard to gain their trust. And likewise, it's two-way street, you know, and so, and the respect that comes along with earning their trust. And the way that I've started doing it, the way I did it from day one is just be who I am. This is who I am. You know, coaching football is just what I do. It's not who I am. And for them to be able to see me as something more than just a football coach, that I truly care about their life after the game of football, and trusting me in that process and how I go about developing them for life after football and providing them the resources to connect with our you know, the corporations around Fayetteville, and helping them when the air and the ball does get let out. So I think it started with trust and respect and showing that Coach truly does care for us more than just about the game of football. And once those guys see that, I mean, I've got a son of my own that plays football, and you know, his coaches that he loves the most are those that they may not talk football to him. They just talk about life, and that's who we are.
Go to the camera platform, front row on the left side.
Chad, right here. What does this opportunity mean to you to be one of 14 coaches in the premier conference in the country? And does it help to maybe have a bit of a pressure break knowing that you're part of a large rookie class of coaches?
Well, you know, I don't know so much about the pressure break, and I don't think anyone would put any more pressure on me than I would myself and our staff. What does it mean to be sitting here as one of 14? It's incredible. I'm just going to be straight with you, and you know, it's something that I'm very honored that I give, as I've shared before. There's a lot of high school coaches that are sitting out there watching this very press conference and wanting to be here one day and want to know, can I get there and how do I get there? And if Chad Morris can get there as a high school football coach and work his way through, then I have a chance. And that's something that I do not take for granted, and also the opportunity to just impact lives. I mean, that's, you know, this is so much more than just the game of football. You know, it just means more, and it does in so many other areas. And I'm very, very honored and to be a part of one of the 14. And we're going to do our part to uphold the integrity and the value that this conference and the tradition that this conference has laid forth, and we're excited about that.
We'll go standing back here on the right side.
Hey, Coach. Bruce Marshall at Sports Byline USA. Schedule question for you. For years, War Memorial in Little Rock is a bigger stadium than Fayetteville, and arguably nicer, but that's not the case anymore since you've upgraded and you've got a tremendous place now. I know you're not playing as many games in Little Rock, but does that make sense to keep this going? I mean, you already give up a game in Fayetteville every other year with A&M to play in Arlington. Do you want to? Is Arkansas going to continue scheduling one in Little Rock going forward?
Yeah, you know, moving forward, I think Hunter Yurchek, our athletic director, released a press conference back several months ago about our continuing our tradition there of playing in Little Rock, and you know, traveling across our state and just listening to the passion and the tradition of Razorback football, the storied past, and the games that have been played in Little Rock, to the memories that have been created there. I'm excited. I'm excited whether we're playing in a parking lot. It really, you know, I'm just excited about the opportunity to be able to step out and to play, and to come and represent the University of Arkansas in the state, there in Little Rock. I'm excited. I'm excited about that opportunity we have, and we're going to embrace it, and you know, we're going to play, and we're going to win.
Go to the camera platform right here on the left.
Coach, I know you're from East Texas, so I know you're tough. I'm not insinuating that you're not, but first-year SEC coaches, the question was just kind of asked, but history hasn't been kind. It's been tough to first-year head coaches in this league. Interested to see how you've kind of embraced that challenge, Coach, and then also building on that, how does your roots in East Texas kind of shape you as a coach?
Yeah, you know, I'll be interested to see what the first year brings with the first-year head coach here, and you know, but again. The only thing I can control, and you can't control that outcome right now. The only thing we can control is putting our best foot forward every day and developing these young men and putting that process in play. Being a part of East Texas, I think it's very imperative that the recruiting that has to dive into the state of Texas. It has to. And when you look at the programs of the past that have had success at Arkansas, you win with the players in Arkansas, and you have a great recruiting footprint in Memphis and Tulsa, and you better get into Texas and into Louisiana. And then you dip into the other schools in the Southeast, or other states in the Southeast that you have relationships. But I believe being from East Texas and the relationships we have will only continue to help us as we move forward in recruiting.
We'll go to the camera position, far right.
What are some of the strengths and weaknesses you see out of the quarterbacks like Cole Kelly and Connor Nolan and the other quarterbacks you have on the roster? And do you have a front runner going into camps?
Yeah, no front runner, but I do know that you know, the last that we obviously we can't be out there as they go through their skills and drills and player-led workouts. So the development of these young men since they walked off the field there in Little Rock and our last practice there in Fayetteville to where they are at the start of fall camp will be interesting. That's where the true development of a quarterback comes in. That's where you're going to see the most gains and the amount of film study that they've been able to do on their own. The player-led workouts, do the players respond to them? Do they lead? How do they react? You know, and so until we get out there and get going into fall camp, it's really hard to say. But I know that each and every one of the young men that you've mentioned and each and every one of the young quarterbacks that are on our roster have all worked extremely hard this summer, and I'm excited about watching the competition unfold.
Well, back row on the left side.
The rivalry with Mizzou is only a few years old, and most people would say that it's not one of the more passionate or filled with the most hatred as other rivalries in the SEC. So do you have any plans to kind of get the guys more amped up for that game or to make it one of the more prominent fixtures during rivalry week?
Well, you know, there's as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of rivalries on our schedule, and you know, several that are around our around our state and the borderlines and the boot and the Southwest. I mean, Classic Trophy. I mean, there's so many, and if you go talk to our fans, there's many others too. They want to beat everybody on the schedule, and so there's a sense of pride across our state, and to be able to get this football team to play at a level that represents the pride and the storied past of this program is my job. And that's what I'm committed to doing. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do it by being the best we can be one day at a time. And when we get to the end of the season, it doesn't matter who we play. It's about being the best we can be each and every Saturday that we step on that field. And we know we have rivalries, and every school in the country has rivalries, but you better be prepared for every game in this league, or you'll get exposed in a hurry.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go back row over here to the right.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Coach, I was going to ask you what you know about the boot and the LSU game. You referenced, I think, that Clemson win in the bowl game kind of kick-started Clemson on that huge run they've been on. But what do you know about the LSU series and the boot?
Well, I know it's obviously if they name a trophy after a game, it means a lot, and I know that there's been some great games and great battles in Little Rock, as a matter of fact, and I'm building on those. We'll build on them. We'll, as the season unfolds, as we get to each and every week, we'll show videos of storied games and represent the tradition. You know, this is all about the Razorbacks of the past, the Razorbacks of the present, and then the Razorbacks of the future. And so letting these young men know that, look, you know, there's been many people that have wore this Razorback logo before you. There's been many people that are going to wear it after you, and what you do in the moment that you're wearing it is going to define your legacy. And part of that legacy is playing for the boot and being able to stand up and battle for that. And it represents so many households as the other rivalry trophies do in our state. It affects every television and every dinner table, every garage and park. It's talked about. And so we're something we'll take with a very high priority, as we do each and every week.
All right, we're out of time. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.